Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting Podcast, episode 73, and a Happy New Year from me, Robin, and my good friends Martin and Alex. Hello, how are you, Martin?
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. No one knows the rest of the words. Yes, no.
ABBA, isn't it? That's ABBA, right?
It's ABBA. ABBA. Hopefully you won't get a copyright infringement based on that rendition.
I think we'll be fine.
I think it's guaranteed.
Well, you never know. You never know. Yeah, no, good. In answer to your question, well, Robin, it's a new year. It's a new podcast. The same podcast, but back for another.
Rejuvenated,
it's
refreshed.
Not a new season yet, is it either? So
no,
it's a continuation.
It's kind of awkward timing. We didn't plan that very well, did we?
It's not quite new, is it? Yeah, good. How are you, Alex?
I'm good, although you brought up it's not a new season, and I've just realised I still don't have the mug, Martin. It's a new year. In 2022, I'm going to get that mug.
You will.
I mean, at the moment, Alex is by far and away in lead of the quiz results. So he's probably won this season's quiz. So he really deserves the mug at this point, since he won it last season.
I keep on asking if your address live on the podcast, but for some reason you don't give it.
I don't dox myself every week. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? So as soon as you dox yourself, then I'll send you the mug.
No, it's fair enough. I
just need to remember to ask you not on the podcast.
I genuinely could do with a travel mug, and I keep putting off buying one because I'm like, any day now. It's
day
it'll arrive in the
decent
post.
Quality. Yeah.
You say this every time just to taunt Alex. It's so cruel.
It's such good quality. No, it will be sent. Don't you worry. It's just a matter of when.
Well, since it is the beginning of a new year, and new beginnings are always exciting, but it's always a time to look ahead. And in what is now apparently a just interesting tradition, we shall be looking at predictions by legitimate, I was going to say qualified, but that's up for debate, psychics and foretellers.
Qualified psychics.
Obviously, there's our good friend Nostradamus. Then there's Baba Vanga, apparently has a few 2022 predictions. And of course, some more recent, still current, alive and kicking psychics who we've mentioned before on this podcast, and possibly someone who we haven't talked about before. They have predictions. So we'll be talking about that today and discussing whether or not we think those things are likely to happen. But before that, we'll be sharing what we've learned this week, and we'll be discussing our favourite comments from the past few weeks with all of you lovely listeners. And then we'll be doing a quiz with Martin and Alex going head to head to see if Martin can
win a quiz.
Sorry. Alex has won everything, so it's just...
Yeah.
Well, it's just seeing by how much Alex can win by at this point.
It does feel a little bit like that.
Not at all. I think I'm matching. Do you remember the win streak I had years and years ago?
Oh yes,
on the old podcast. I think I was on a winning streak then, and I think I'm. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm doing all right at the moment.
Have you gone back and checked how many you're on before compared to this one?
I mean, no, I can't.
Yeah, those episodes are no longer available.
Oh well, yeah. Very true.
That's a good point though, because we get some comments saying like, can you put the videos back up on the other channel? We can't. We don't have access to that. Just to reiterate, we cannot do that. But.
So anyone who wants to ask that question, who hasn't already asked that question, who we haven't already answered, yes, sadly, our previous channel, which shall not be named, we don't have control over that anymore, or all the content that was made for it. It's been a while, and it's no longer available, as far as we know.
Fine.
But if you're dying for a fix, then here we are, the Just Interesting Podcast. We're always here for you. Right then, what did we learn this week, Alex?
Okay, so I've learned something this week, but I actually kind of have to dip into our main topic.
Ooh,
okay. I've got to kind of sneak ahead a little bit.
Are you allowed?
In order to, am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if you
new year, new rules, you're allowed. I've assigned it. It's fine. But basically, I was looking at our past predictions in preparation for this podcast, and Nicolas, what was his name last year? Who we talked about?
That sounds right. Yeah, Aujula.
Nicolas Aujula. So he's is a psychic and made a bunch of predictions about 2021. And one of the most bizarre ones that we kind of got a bit obsessed with, and we mentioned recurringly throughout the year, I think, was that he predicted that something to do with a digestive biscuit would go viral. Something about a digestive biscuit would be in the news this year. We predicted that a digestive biscuit would somehow kill Joe Biden. But all he said was that a digestive biscuit will go viral. And I was Googling to see if this had come true. And it has. Not too long ago, actually, there was a viral TikTok about a digestive biscuit that involved... it was basically a Scottish man who realised digestive biscuits, why they're called digestive biscuits. And he's speaking about that. And he says that digestive biscuits were made in 1839 by two Scottish doctors who developed them to help with the aid of the digestive system because they've got sodium bicarbonate in them, which is a laxative, apparently, which I didn't know, for one thing. So these biscuits were made to help people go to the loo, go for a number 2.
Yeah. Keep you regular.
Although should be said that they're not really a laxative, these biscuits. They don't have enough fibre content in them to, they're not any more than eating some beans will help you out. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
gotcha.
There are better foods for that sort of thing out there. But yeah, that's what I learned this week. Digestive biscuits, and it's something that people in the States and in other parts of the world might not even realize this. But we have biscuits over here called digestive biscuits, which when you think about it is an absolutely crazy name for a biscuit. It does not sound appealing at all.
Except they are delicious.
It was the chocolate ones were called something ridiculous as well, weren't they originally?
Oh, well.
They were called home wheat digestives.
Home wheat?
Home wheat. What does that even mean? Home wheat?
It's wheat at home, obviously.
That's it.
Well, that's the other thing. Name. They're made of wheat, which is unusual for biscuits, isn't it? Most biscuits are made of not wheat. Is that right? Or is it made of whole wheat? They're made of whole wheat, so they're more...
I think they're made of
texture.
whole wheat.
Yeah.
And I think they have more fibre content in them because it's whole wheat.
They're made of home wheat, I have you know.
Oh, yeah, of course. They're made of home wheat. Sorry, my mistake.
So I think they're particularly fibrous in the biscuit world. So I guess that helps out. But if you're looking for, if you've got some constipation problems, digestive biscuits probably aren't going to be your first stop.
No, it doesn't sound like a great idea, does it? Just like fill up on your carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
not sure about that
so
one.
I mean, this was like two things I learned in one. First of all, I learned that actually this prediction by Nicolas
Aujula, actually.
Aujula was correct. A digestive biscuit did go viral. But as we mentioned in the video last year, I wonder what the probability of that would be. Like, I wonder if over the course of a year, of course, like anything related to anything would have a viral video about it, just because of the sheer amount of content that's produced in a year's span.
Yeah. Do you reckon he's looked back at previous years and been like, yeah, it's safe. There's 3 or 4 each year that go viral. I'm covered.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned that, and I learned the origin of digestive biscuits.
I didn't learn about biscuits, but I learned about an animal that may or may not eat biscuits, as most animals may or may not eat biscuits. And this animal is called an owl. So I learned about owls. Just trying to make that as confusing as possible for everyone. So owls,
they love a biscuit.
They love a biscuit, don't they? Do you reckon like with cats and dogs you can't give them chocolate? Do you reckon you can give an owl chocolate? Probably not.
If it's a chocolate mouse.
A chocolate mouse, yeah. What about the sugar mice? Do you reckon they'd eat that?
Yeah,
I don't think you could give it chocolate. But then, I mean, birds generally eat anything, don't they? They love, like, seagulls. They'll just eat anything.
Seagulls eat anything, yeah. Because there's always people on there that say like, oh yeah, if you give a bird rice, it will explode. So that does not sound correct. It might die, but I'm not sure it's going to explode.
I've heard that before. Yeah. Sorry, I've totally derailed you.
I derailed it myself by asking if owls could eat chocolate biscuits. Anyway, that's one for the comment section, I think, or anyone that wants to hit us up on Twitter as well. Can owls eat chocolate? That's the question of the week. But what owls can't do, what they can't do is move their eyeballs. we can move our eyeballs from side to
Really?
side because we have eyeballs, whereas owls don't have eyeballs. They have like these tubes. I'm just doing a little owl impression of the tubes on the
Yeah.
eyes. And these tubes, and basically they're very, very rigid because there's these bones called sclerotic rings, which basically hold the tubular eyes in place. And so that is why owls have to turn their heads. If anyone listening to this, I'm trying to turn my head as much as I can.
You're turning your head, but like angling it left and right. They turn their
They
head
turn it
like nearly
they
all the
rotate
way
it
around.
I know,
360,
but
don't they?
I can't do any further than that. They do 270 apparently, 270 and 90 degrees up and down. So so that's the reason why they have such amazing ability to spin their head round, is because they don't have eyeballs.
That is
Wow,
incredible.
that's so
Some people
weird.
might
I
have
did not
known
know
that,
that.
but I didn't know it.
I didn't know
genuinely,
that.
I've always assumed all eyes are eyeballs. I've never thought about them being anything else. That's just
No, apparently not.
mad.
Yeah.
What's the like evolutionary advantage of them having cylindrical like tubes as eyeballs?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, should we have some predictions? Maybe, I don't know. Like,
Well, they're predators, aren't they?
yeah,
They're birds of
for-
prey.
yeah.
So
Focus.
and they've got quite flat faces, so their eyes are pointing directly forward, so they
That's
can.
very true.
Unlike animals that aren't predators, they've got eyes on the sides of their heads, like most birds. In fact, they
Yeah.
they look kind of opposite directions, whereas predators look straight forward. So I'm guessing it's something to do with that. They're birds,
imagine so.
and they evolved
They can
to look
see
forward, and
things from
somehow that
further away.
the tubes were part of that.
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
this is. I'm going to say shock horror here sarcastically, but shock horror. Owls have big eyes,
They do.
and so the eyes apparently make up 3% of their total body weight, which is massive. That's a huge amount.
Wow.
Whereas in humans, it's 0.0003%.
Wow,
So what's that? 1,000 times as heavy in comparison to their body,
that's crazy.
relative to their body. But then again, if you look at, people have probably seen this already, but if you look at an owl without feathers, I don't know if you guys have seen this.
No.
You haven't seen an owl without feathers. Google owl without feathers now, and anyone at home.
Do I want to? Is this going to be scary?
It's a little bit scary. Just Google owl without
know.
feathers and see what comes up, and well, you might be surprised.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
What?
Well, that's freaky.
yeah. So has that changed your perspective on owls slightly? Anyone who hasn't seen this, Google it and let us know what you think.
I feel
Oh
like
my god!
that's
That is.
definitely nightmare fuel.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah,
They're like aliens.
that was what I learned this week.
That is fascinating.
That's
Thank you,
really
Martin.
interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Martin. How about you, Robin?
I don't know if I can live up to that, but I found out a very simple fact which shocked me as a James Bond fan. But this week I learned that Sean Connery's real name is Thomas Connery.
Is it really? He
Yeah.
decided on Sean.
He changed his
I mean, no
name from
offense.
Thomas to Sean.
I mean, no offense to Sean. It's like it's a fine name. But it's a
Yeah,
bit
well-
like changing your name to Martin, isn't it? You just don't do it.
Well, apparently it's because Sean is one of his middle names. Growing
okay.
up, he had a friend called Seamus, and people used to jokingly call them, Sean and Seamus.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it kind of stuck.
Okay.
And so he but yeah, for a moment I thought, no way. And then I thought, if he was embarrassed by saying Thomas, so he changed his name to Sean to kind of cover up the speech impediment, maybe. I thought, that's a clever thing to do, actually. But no.
Yeah. It's fine until he says any other word beginning with an S. Yeah.
Oh,
There
that's
we go.
interesting. Yeah,
Thomas Connery.
that almost rolls off the tongue a bit better though than
Thomas.
Sean Connery.
Thomas Connery.
Thomas Connery.
Tom
Yeah.
Connery.
Yeah. I
Tom
like
Connery,
that.
definitely.
Tom Connery.
Tom Connery.
Tom Connery.
Tom Connery.
Well, from things we learned this week to our favourite comments of this week, or rather the past couple of weeks, because it's been the holiday season, and hopefully people have had a lovely time over Christmas and the New Year. And I certainly have, and I think Alex and Martin have as well. But we'll be. What are your favourite comments of the week, gentlemen?
That's my favourite voice of the week.
Oh, thank you.
That was great. So I've got a comment this week from Micaiah Barron, who commented on our last live stream podcast that we did live straight to YouTube. So if you're watching, make sure to hit the subscribe button. So we may do some more, who knows? But we were talking about our favourite Christmas movies, and even though Christmas has passed, I still think the issue is a whole year-round thing. So he says, favourite Christmas movie, Muppets Christmas Carol, one of the most accurate movie renditions of the story with a great cast and humorous use of the Muppets. And I completely agree.
Yeah.
And we don't just have to take our words for this, because we've consulted the Dickens expert, a good friend of ours called Richard Jones, who... We is an expert on all things Charles Dickens and Jack the Ripper as well. Actually has a YouTube channel called Ripper Tours.
Yeah, Ripper Tours, yeah.
Yeah, which is well worth going over there and checking that out as well. But he said the exact same thing when he was a guest on our podcast last year. He said that The Muppets Christmas Carol is genuinely one of the best adaptations of the original story.
Yeah, and 100%, yeah.
I mean, and Muppets Christmas Carol is scientifically the best Christmas movie of all time. So fully agreement with that comment, basically.
Contentious. I would agree, but other people might. A lot of people plump for Die Hard. I mean, I feel like that's people who don't
Die
like
Hard's
Christmas.
good.
I mean, Die Hard is
good.
amazing, yeah, but as a Christmas film, maybe not. But let us know your thoughts.
I flit between different Christmas movies. Like I like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's quite good. And this year I watched Jingle All the Way again this year, which is just it's got a special place. It's got a special place for sure. Yeah. So I've got a comment from Jojo Wizza, and Jojo writes, "What are all those stupid soundboards that made me stop listening?"
What?
Now, Jojo, I'm sure that you're probably not listening if you said you stopped, but if you're referring to our wonderful, wonderful quiz buzzers, then I must attest. But yeah,
That's the main selling point of the podcast.
The quiz buzzers.
I just enjoyed how angry that comment is. What were all those stupid soundboards that made me stop listening?
Man, they must have been particularly bad that episode.
Yeah,
there are some episodes where we choose some pretty grating.
We do.
Grating.
I haven't gone back
buzzers.
and listened. It's on the were through these 300 years completely made up, which was a video from, when was that, like at least
a while ago. Yeah. Episode early days, right? 33, I think. Episode 33.
Episode 33. I need to see what the buzzers are now, so I'm intrigued. But yeah, so thank you for the engagement regardless.
Well, I've got a comment from Elaine Christina, who's one of our YouTube members. Thank you, Elaine. Always good to have you here. Who commented on our Christmas live stream from, just a couple of weeks ago, and said, "Throughout the whole thing, the thought that Robin sounded a bit tipsy crossed my mind several times."
You can set the record straight.
I was sober when we started the podcast, so the fact that she felt this throughout the whole thing is quite worrying. But at the same time, I definitely had at least 3 whiskies throughout the course of that. So
does he do anything?
It's possible that I did get a bit tipsy. Right now, I'm drinking a Bailey's, which, as we all know, is offset by the cream included, along with the spirit.
Yeah, it
inside
basically makes it alcohol free, I think. That's
more or less. That's what I thought. Yeah, as a percentage, it's pretty small. Yeah,
everyone knows that.
What are you drinking, gentlemen?
Gentlemen, I've got a small bit of whiskey.
Nice.
And of course some water as well.
Yes,
you've got to balance. It's a Friday night when we're recording this, so we're allowed to. I'll say that. Don't we always have a drink when we're recording?
Yeah. Alex,
what is that?
You've got a straw and everything.
I've got a black Russian that I made myself, and it's even got looks like a fancy
nice.
cherry on it, a cocktail cherry.
So that is like cool. a big black Russian there.
Alex likes a big black Russian.
What can we say? What did you go for to make it? What did you do?
Well, the original recipe of black Russian, I think, is just vodka or 2 parts vodka and 1 part coffee liqueur.
Yeah.
But most people, including me, just top it up with Coke as well.
A bit more added
that's
sweetness.
Where the volume. And there's lots of ice in it as well. So
nice.
Otherwise, you'd be knocking yourself out in no time.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
I'm half expecting the walls of your room just to flatten, it to be a set, and you're actually on the beach. You're like leaning back in the chair.
Well, with that, let's move on to our main topic to discuss this week, which is predictions for 2022. But before we dive into predictions for 2022, I thought we would quickly review the predictions for 2021 that we discussed a year ago for 2021, obviously, which were a combination, I think, of Nostradamus and this London-based psychic called Nicolas Aujula. Apologies if anybody knows how to pronounce his surname, or if Nicholas himself is listening to this, because it's an unusual surname. But Aujula, I think, is how it's said. And last time he made some big startling predictions. One of them, as Alex has already revealed, about the digestive biscuit going viral already.
Started strong.
That is a big prediction.
Correct. That is quite accurate.
Take that one off your list.
I think I checked the video out, and it had 1.2 million views, or 1.2 million likes, on TikTok.
Yeah, I think it had 4 million views or something.
Yeah, which is huge. So that was true. Digestive biscuit went viral. Another bigger prediction, or arguably bigger prediction, was a world leader would be killed, I think. Was that what it was? And we said, is it going to be Joe Biden?
Was a world leader killed that year?
The president, it wasn't in December, it was September. The president of Haiti was assassinated.
Really?
Yeah.
Check that. Check that again.
Let's just double check this. Okay, July 7th. Foreign mercenaries assassinated him. Yes, 7th of July. He was killed.
I think that counts.
That is
I don't know how often world leader, but leaders are killed. Maybe it's more often than we think, perhaps. But yes, there was one.
Yeah. Although again, statistically, is that something that's likely to happen in any given year? Either way, accurate prediction apparently. Another one that Nicholas definitely did make was about coronavirus, and he predicted that in 2021 it would plateau after the new year, and infection rates would be right down to the point where they're under control by the spring of 2021. However, he predicted that the panic and restrictions around the virus will go on until 2022. That's not 100% right.
No. I mean, to the end of... cases now are skyrocketing. They're
in the
larger
UK
than they've ever been.
Yeah, where Nicholas is based in our country, it is the highest it's been. Over 200,000.
So I don't think that's right.
No, I'd say that's
there have been peaks and troughs, haven't there?
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't under control in inverted commas by the spring last year. I don't think so.
No.
But although he's correct about restrictions and things and panic certainly lasting until 2022, that's correct. That's correct. He also had some interesting predictions about celebrities.
One of these I was gutted to learn didn't come true, didn't come to pass.
Oh, which one was that? Which one?
That Peter Andre would relaunch his music career. Where is he, Peter? Although, do you know what? I tried Googling this. I just Googled Peter Andre. Insane amount of news articles are written about Peter Andre, every single week.
Really?
There's a news article about him every single day. Just like
every day.
Peter Andre releases photo of his daughter. It's like, what? That's not news.
Well, he was he was such a big star in the paparazzi. The paparazzi tabloid magazines in the UK, wasn't he, for so many years?
Yeah.
It's like he just never really left him.
Because I couldn't tell you what he's done apart from Mysterious Girl, which was 1998 or something. That one song, and he's just somehow made an entire career out of being Peter Andre.
You don't remember Insania? The song that he went into the I'm a Celebrity jungle to market?
Okay, I not know. No.
I thought it was Mysterious. Or was that later? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
He re-released, I think, Mysterious.
This is Insania.
Right. Oh,
do you remember that?
No.
He apparently came up with it in the jungle, but...
Yeah, sure. Well, another prediction about celebrities was actually quite interesting, about Meghan Markle appearing on TV, which not much of a prediction, but he's saying doing some kind of tell-all interview. And in March of last year, there was the quite famous viral Oprah interview. I don't know if that counts. Was it actually called the tell-all interview? Yeah.
They marketed it as, well, I don't know whether she didn't, obviously, but it was
Oprah.
presented as that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, definitely. So that's actually quite interesting. I don't know, again, is that an educated guess? Does he have inside knowledge, or is that, there's a few months gap. The interview was televised in March, and he was making these predictions at the end of 2020. So that's a good 4 or 5 months ahead of time. That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, he infamously, amongst the audience of Just Interesting, predicted heartache for Natalie Portman and Kim Kardashian. Now,
and Tom Cruise.
And Tom Cruise, yes. Right. Now, I did check this. I did some Google research. Very thorough, very thorough. And as far as I'm aware, Natalie Portman is still happily married with kids. So who knows if there's anything going on in the background, but I think she's okay. However, Kim Kardashian, we discovered, did actually break up with Kanye.
Yep.
Which is,
although, as we also said, like, by the time that he made this prediction, maybe the warning signs were in place. Like, Kanye very publicly ran for president and, was doing some questionable things. I'm not going to knock the guy. I hope he's
trying
okay
to be a
and gets
lawyer.
help. But, But, maybe that was more of an educated guess than a psychic prediction.
Yeah, probably. But what about Tom Cruise? Because the only relationship rumors there have been with Tom Cruise is that he's having a very nice time with Hayley Atwell.
Yeah, so probably not for that one either.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel quite right. Yeah. 1 out of 3 though for those kind of predictions isn't bad.
That's true.
Not bad.
That's true.
Not bad.
I mean, that's worse than 50-50. I could probably do just as well.
I have to say, he's done pretty well. So, what has he predicted for 2022?
Well, hang on. Before we say that he's done pretty well, can I say a couple more that he predicted?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So he also predicted that Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, would resign, which he didn't resign.
No, that's
it was very specific.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
He also said that fire would rage in New York.
Wrong place.
Should have picked Australia. Yeah.
I don't think that did happen in New York, did it?
No.
And lots in LA, but nothing in New York.
There was flooding, which is the opposite of fire in New York.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He also said that there was a new Harry Potter book, but there wasn't a new Harry Potter book.
No, the closest we get is the announcement of the trailer for the next film and the Harry Potter reunion.
There was a reunion. So just to balance the scales a little bit, he got a few more wrong.
So it's not 100% success rate for Nicholas, our good friend Nicholas, but he's done quite well. So maybe let's see which predictions for 2022 will come true. Which ones do we think are most likely to come true, given what he said for 2021? Just for the record, he has visions. This is how his process works. He doesn't claim, at least, to calculate anything or interpret the stars or anything like that. He has visions, which may give him room for maneuver in terms of misinterpreting the signs, perhaps. But he's got another prediction about some celebrities, and specifically Meghan Markle, yet again. He predicts that in 2022, Meghan Markle, he will be standing on a platform in some kind of new public-facing role, talking. She's maybe working as a presenter, which will bring her a new income stream.
I mean, this just seems like an educated guess. I mean, I guess
it's more than an educated guess. It's more like, what's she going to do with her time?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the opposite of like Nostradamus and that kind of thing, which can be vague and interpreted. This is like not even an out there suggestion. That's like, chances are that is going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, for their family members, the royal family, he predicts that Prince William, Kate Middleton, and their children will grow in popularity, and that the Queen will have a much better year in 2022 than 2021, which, to be honest, is kind of like stating the obvious. Her husband died. Her husband of 60 years died in 2021.
I don't know if it will be that much of a better year. It depends what happens with this Prince Andrew thing.
Sons are nonce, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's like arrested or charged for it, right?
I mean, it's going to be a shame if she dies this year now.
Yeah, better or worse.
That's the way that prediction is false, right? Like,
I don't know. If she dies, then things will be better for her.
Well, there'll be, I guess you could look at it that way, which is a sad state of things. Yeah.
Maybe not for a family, but yeah. Other celebrity predictions include, he says there'll be a sad event for Madonna, and Will Smith will face heartache in 2022.
There was that. This might be based on the post that went around a few weeks ago. Did you see that?
I did, about him and Jada Pinkett Smith
Yeah,
and their
like,
open marriage. Is that what you describe it as, or
yeah, I think so. But I think basically, what did he wrote like he released a new album? No, film. He released something, and anyway, she said, "Oh, congratulations, Will Smith," and like used his like full name. It was really cold, and
Right.
so
Oh, yeah.
and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, that's ooh." It was very like
Oh, right, that doesn't bode well, does it?
So I imagine that this was based on. Well, if it wasn't a psychic prediction, it was based on that.
And there was a whole article about their relationship as well, and they did a big interview where they have a strange kind of open marriage.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty well documented, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, there may be, he has evidence to support to rationalize this. Slightly more interestingly, and I feel like maybe a year late, but let's find out. He says an ordinary woman called Jackie will spring from obscurity to superstardom overnight in 2022.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
See, now, if this was someone who made this prediction years and years ago,
Yeah.
that, like, I'd be very impressed with that. It's like, oh my God, you were a year off of Jackie Weaver
Yeah.
appearing out of nowhere. But, I mean, you can't predict
Just post Weaver.
the thing that's just happened.
To
Like,
happen
this is
again.
post Weaver that he's predicted this.
Yeah.
Jackie Weaver's she's had a moment as well. She's not going to suddenly appear on Loose Women, I don't think.
Yeah, she's had her 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So another woman called Jackie is going to spring out of nowhere.
Jackie. Yeah.
That could happen.
Yeah, it's
I feel like his visions. Maybe I feel like his visions are like just kind of educated guesses from what he's seen and read about in the newspaper and like recently. Like I think he must have seen Jackie Weaver's name somewhere for like a week straight, and that's kind of influenced his vision. That's my hypothesis, anyway.
So you're giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying that he has actual visions and he's interpreting them accurately, but those visions have been influenced by everything he's seen in the past.
I'm saying that I'm not sure I'm convinced that they're psychic predictions, but more just like noticing the world around him.
I'm
trying to be as generous as possible. Yeah, because his predictions are pretty accurate, but they're more like social psychology, I guess, just like being able to deduce what is actually going to happen.
Well, is that
and
not
have
like a
educated
prediction?
guesses.
having visions
Well,
of the
it is.
future. A bit slight tangent, but having visions of the future sounds absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, imagine that the visions of this person will be assassinated. What, you're having a vision of someone being assassinated? Is that your vision?
Right.
It sounds
or is
a little bit kind of Minority Report precoggy.
Yeah.
Seeing future murders.
You're
Yeah,
right.
that's
Actually.
true.
Yeah, that's quite spooky. I mean, not too useful though. Someone is going to be killed in the next year. Like,
What do they look like?
Yeah. Who are they? Well, on to his food predictions, because he's got some more for this year.
Oh yeah, of course.
He believes gooseberries will become the new superfood and everyone will start eating them. And there will be a mass recall of chicken soup.
So specific. I love it. If there is, then fair enough. Fair enough.
It again, sounds plausible. I mean,
How often does recalls of chicken soup happen? Like, has that happened this year? Did it happen last year? What's the chances that that's going to
Chicken
happen
soup.
this year?
Yeah, I don't know. Like a soup recall. People could give them the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, I probably just meant soup in general. Chicken soup. Imagine that vision. It's like I'm seeing tins. I'm seeing tins with. They're out of date.
Thousands
God.
of gallons are just being poured down the sink.
There's a child throwing up. It's a recall. It's a chicken soup recall. Okay, chicken soup. Write it down. Chicken soup recall. And what's the process of that?
it's a mystical psychic process, Martin. Don't mock it.
Yeah.
He also predicts that Brazil will win a major sporting event in 2022.
Is it the World Cup next year?
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
World
the
Cup this
Qatar
year,
World
yeah.
Cup. And I mean,
right.
that's like,
They're probably about 3-1.
I was going to say there's a million other people placing bets that would predict that. So, and then this is where it gets heavy, guys. This is where it gets heavy.
Okay.
He foresees superpower struggles and a renewed space race between China and Russia.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
well, that's also like, yeah, I mean, I could see that because China's recently got their own space station with their own Chinese astronauts up there.
They have their own rockets, which they're doing missions. They've got plans to colonize the moon as well, haven't they? They've got a competing space station plan, lunar station plan to NASA's.
Yes,
I believe.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, like it. Just for information, Brazil are the favourites for the World Cup.
Are they? Okay.
But that shouldn't necessarily diminish the prediction, because if it's right, it's right. Right.
But also, he's like, it's even more vague because he doesn't specify they're going to win the World Cup. He specifies it's just going to be any major sporting event, which
what else
is a bit broad.
Trying to think about if there's any others.
What could be more major than the World Cup? As much as we might prefer other sports, I think the Soccer World Cup is easily the biggest sporting event whenever it happens. So, So I think the superpower struggles and the renewed space race between China and Russia is interesting because one of Nostradamus's predictions, purportedly for 2022, is World War III.
For 2022?
Yeah. It's going to happen.
Oh.
Yeah. And
that's a shame.
This is interesting because actually there are the slightly more...
that sucks.
What's the word I'm looking for? Slightly more academically inclined publications that have discussed the possibilities, as well as specialists and professionals who've discussed the possibilities of World War III happening soon, because there's particular tensions on the Ukraine border in Europe, with Russia increasing its military presence and the possible threat of it invading, and NATO, which includes America and Britain and France and Germany, meeting very recently to discuss how to respond to that. And of course, any military response, if it were to happen, would result in a war between the world's biggest powers, except for China. But would China weigh in? Because there are increasing tensions as well over Taiwan, isn't there? And in particular, there's Australia recently. I think we discussed on the podcast a few episodes ago about how Australia is increasing its China countermeasures.
Right. Okay. Didn't know that.
I mean, it's an interesting discussion that maybe we should have this sometime in the podcast another time, because Australia simultaneously is beefing up all its military and kind of cybersecurity and counterintelligence to deal with China, while at the same time trying to ameliorate its trade with China, who is its major trading partner. So they're campaigning simultaneously on, we need to get a strong government in power to increase our military budget to battle China, and we also need to keep our trading relationship with China. So,
different departments, I'd say.
Different. Anyway, that's beside the point. So China could be involved in World War III, because recently it was Joe Biden, wasn't it, who last year issued a statement supporting Taiwan, I believe, against China's claims.
I think a delegation from Taiwan was invited to his inauguration, which was the first time that had happened, or had happened for about 50, 60 years or something.
Yeah. The most explicit a recent US president has been about recognizing Taiwan as an independent nation. And of course, I think Britain as well has been doing some naval activity in the region. Sending some ships there in a very supportive way. And now, of course, we've got this Ukraine crisis, which has been going on for years, but is now heating up because Russia is increasing its military presence. So
I do think that something way more drastic would have to happen for World War III to happen. But I could see the whole Russian-Ukraine thing coming to a head this year. I think that they're going to make a move this year. That's my prediction anyway, but not like a psychic prediction, but I could see that happening. Something.
I agree. I could see them making a move, but I could also see NATO not doing anything in response.
Oh no, that's what I mean. I don't think World War III would happen with it. I think they might try and take Ukraine, and the world powers will fail to respond to it.
Yeah, I mean, trouble's flared up, hasn't it, in Kazakhstan this week, and Russia,
which has really not been in the news that much. No,
like, crazy. People have been killed, and Russia has sent troops into Kazakhstan. which isn't mental because like the Kazakhs they're quite good allies, I believe. But it's just interesting that they're willing to get involved in basically a domestic matter and send troops to support. So it's interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether that extends beyond Kazakhstan, and perhaps they're a bit more gung ho with sending troops here, there, and everywhere.
It's going to be a cheerful year for world politics again.
Fun.
Well, in addition to World War III, Nostradamus has apparently. So this is the way it's being reported by people who are reporting on this. He's predicted climate change for 2022, which I just let's not even bother discussing that. That's not a prediction.
I think we're on a different website because I'm getting different predictions to you. So maybe this is all depending on which article you read.
This is true. Yeah, and there's another caveat for Nostradamus, which I'll explain in a moment, because one thing that I think is actually interesting is that one of Nostradamus' predictions for 2022 is apparently that rising food costs will cause widespread hunger and even lead to cannibalism, which...
Big claim.
I was just saying before we recorded this, I went shopping today in the supermarket.
And there was a dead man that you ate.
No, well, I mean, that happened later. But the price of a can of baked beans has gone up to £1.
A pound for a can of beans?
Whole pound for a can of baked beans.
Crazy.
Exactly.
That
does sound mad. That does sound mad. So, okay, so we got... I mean, climate change, he's predicting this a long time ago. So it's not the maddest prediction, but you can't really narrow it down to being this year that climate change is going to be an issue.
And that's the issue with Nostradamus. He doesn't actually forecast a year. He relates all of his predictions to the position of the planets and the stars. So that's why he can keep coming up every single time his predictions don't come true, is because people look at the star charts and the planet charts and say, well, when he says these planets align, this is going to happen, it could be this year, or it could be this other time that the planets align and all the stars are in this position. Mm-hmm. So he can keep coming back because people aren't actually sure. Yeah. People are figuring out which years they're applying to. And even then, sometimes, I was reading earlier that the celestial alignments that he refers to can occur within a space of 2 decades or something. So people assigning an individual year to Nostradamus' predictions are really putting their neck out. They're really stretching for it. And the other problem, of course, is that a lot of people's interpretations of Nostradamus' predictions can differ wildly because everything he wrote was in verse, and people doing it in English are getting potentially a different prediction because he wrote in medieval or early modern French. So it's all
translation.
There's so many levels of separation from what he was actually saying to what we're actually understanding him to have said. Which is why you can say something as vague as "there will be flames in the sky." And people are like, it's World War III. Like, okay,
I've got a prediction that this when's he from? The 15th century. Yeah, 15th century French scribe. Perhaps, He predicts the rise of artificial intelligence in 2022.
Oh wow! Okay,
there we go. Yeah. There we go. Do we know exactly? Do you know what he said specifically?
I can tell you. He said, "The moon in the full of night over the high mountain, the new sage with a lone brain sees it. By his disciples invited to be immortal, eyes to the south, hands in bosoms, bodies in the fire." So I think the key words there are the new.
Hands in bosoms, I think, is probably the key words there.
Look, we're taking this very seriously.
We are.
Nostradamus predicted rise. If artificial intelligence, if the Terminator happens this year, Martin, and you laughed about it, they're going to come for you first.
Yeah, which do you think is more likely, in terms of reaching singularity with artificial intelligence becoming self-aware and self-replicating, Terminator or The Matrix?
Ooh. The Matrix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one, actually.
Just pick one.
Well, I don't think The Matrix exactly, because the premise of The Matrix of like using humans as fuel doesn't make any sense, really. I don't think they would do that. They would just kill us, right? I don't know. I'd like to be more optimistic and say neither.
Oh,
but I mean, maybe a simulation of some kind. So I'll go Matrix. That sounds a bit better.
Yeah, the "Are we living in a simulation" one gets bandied about quite a lot, and there's a decent argument for it until Elon Musk is like, "I'm 100% sure we're living in a simulation," and then everyone's like, "Probably not." Then,
but of course, if you live the life that Elon Musk has lived, then of course you think you're living in a simulation.
Gotta be living in a simulation. The richest person on earth.
I'm the richest person on earth. I'm player one.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Talking about being the main character in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No, I was just gonna have a quick look at our good old friend Baba Vanga.
Baba Vanga.
Oh, yeah.
What has she said?
Or do you know her real name is Evangelia Gushterova?
Oh,
I did not know that. No.
There we go. So Baba Vanga predicts a lot of things in 2022, as she always does. Although what I find with Baba Vanga is that when you try and look up any of these predictions, it's really difficult to find the original source. So you do have to take these ones with a little bit of a pinch of salt. It could just be people making up what she's apparently said, and there's also the translation issue as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this year she has envisages. Can't say the word. Why don't I just say she predicts another pandemic. This time, the pandemic, though, will be discovered in Siberia and will be caused by a frozen virus that will be released by climate change.
Well,
which again,
scientifically
that is a genuine worry, isn't
it?
Yeah. And considering she died in the 90s?
Yeah, late 90s, wasn't it? Yeah.
So she made this a decent time ago, considering how specific that is to what's happening now. There's definitely been talk of gases being released from permafrost and stuff.
Yeah.
And so a virus being released. She says a virus specifically. But anyway, yeah. And then she put many cities will be hit by water shortages.
Oh.
So that's interesting.
I mean, I can believe that again with all the extreme weather we're having and the heat in particular. There's droughts all the time, it feels like.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, the wildfires have been crazy, haven't they? Where were they? Australia constantly has wildfires, and California's been mad as well. And then there's been some other ones. Was it Germany got hit by quite a few wildfires as well?
Really?
This year. It might have been Germany. It was somewhere that I was thinking.
I think Germany had some really bad floods.
They had some bad floods as well. Did they have fires? I think they had fires. Yeah, forest fires in Germany. According to German newspaper, or Rheinische Post, there were 1,708 forest fires. That's in 2018. So it sounds like they do have a decent amount. There we go. German forest fires leaps from 400 to 1,700 a year. But anyway, I'm not German forest. Anyway, there have been forest fires elsewhere. So yeah, an increase in forest fires definitely is something that makes sense, and water shortages as a result of that. And then the one that of course will interest our audience is that aliens will invade the planet by sending an asteroid to seek out life on Earth.
To seek out life on Earth.
They're sending an asteroid.
They're sending an asteroid to seek out life on Earth.
Seek out and destroy it.
So this asteroid will hit the Earth, and the aliens will just be like, okay, let's get out of the asteroid for a bit and just see what's going on.
Wasn't that like a genuine kind of scientific plan to explore, other parts of the galaxy by literally just sending out a space probe to where they know a comet or something is going to be, and just latching onto it and using that as kind of
that makes sense.
Space, using that as the kind of spaceship.
Yeah,
because I think it's just not going to wasn't feasible in the end. Because if you have to catch up to a comet to get it to that speed, then you're already going that speed. You're not going to slow down, so you don't even need to latch on.
Yes, and she also has some less kind of extreme predictions. I mean, extreme still, but less kind of out there, which is that there'll be more earthquakes and potentially tsunamis. And there'll be floods in Australia and parts of Asia, which is kind of quite a big area. So it's not exactly specific.
Again, Australia, not known for its floods, known for its fires. So that's quite an interesting
Yeah, that's different.
prediction.
Yeah, that is different. You're right. And also that there'll be famine in India, where temperatures will reach 50 degrees, which will cause locusts to attack crops. So yeah, 50 degrees in India apparently, and swarms of locusts.
Well, that was a problem last year or a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
in Africa, wasn't it? 2020,
Africa,
they had the locust swarm. Well, they probably haven't. Still, we just haven't reported on it.
This world is becoming a mess, isn't it?
Yeah. In India, a few years ago, I want to say 2018, maybe. They had a problem on the Pakistani border, I think it was, with rats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had huge invasions of rats because I think there was flooding. Like climate change had melted all the mountainous ice caps on the border, and it had flooded all the towns in Pakistan, and all these rats had just fled across the border to India, and they just weren't prepared or expected them. So you had thousands and thousands of rats swarming these towns, eating all their food, and in some cases eating people's faces whilst they were sleeping. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was in Australia where there was plagues of mice, right? In the last year. And weren't they saying that it was because a lot of the shops and stuff were closed? And so where mice would usually be like out and about with the food, they were heading like indoors and stuff to find alternate sources.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Wow.
So come the apocalypse, without all the shops and the malls and things, we'll just get home invasions from pests. And there'll be no pest control to deal with it.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I think by
Nightmare.
the apocalypse, that will be the least of our worries.
I don't know. Some specific ones aside, with Nicolas Aujula's are clearly some educated guesses, I think, so they might come true. I think Baba Vanga's sound very plausible compared to the others.
I think you have to give credit for the specificity, even though she predicted it, some years ago. I think that's what's impressive. If you predict, I mean, old Nicholas here could be having these visions, and they could well be correct because they're the most likely thing to happen, and so his vision is just of what is going to happen, giving him the benefit of the doubt. But in terms of predictions coming true for the upcoming years, it's much more believable and plausible if they were made a few years back. You don't have the context of the modern day, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Much easier to predict the near future than it is the distant future. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's make some
What
wild
about-
predictions about 2300 and see what comes true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could do a Nostradamus and write down our prophecies into a book, and then in 100 years' time,
I'm famous.
or even like 400 years' time, then every day the Express or what other newspaper can write articles about them.
Yep, and and hopefully your great
for clickbait.
great grandchildren will get a royalty.
Fingers crossed. That's
Yeah.
the dream.
I'm not sure copyright law extends
There
that
it
far, but
works.
we'll find out.
So what about you guys? Let's stick your neck out. 2022. What are some of the most major things that you predict? Tap into your sixth sense, and what do you think's going to happen?
Well, to start with a boring one, politics. I think
Okay.
in America, Democrats will lose the midterms, lose both houses. In Britain, we'll have a new prime minister by Christmas 2022.
That's your prediction that you think Boris Johnson will not last the year.
Yeah, I think it'll be out.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it will remain conservative.
Oh yeah,
Most definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could see us by the end of the year looking at another indie referendum on the cards.
Ooh.
I think that could potentially be. I think the Scottish are banging the drum, and the Welsh are the increase in people supporting Plaid Cymru as well. It's on the increase. I think there's definitely people are sick of Westminster making decisions for them, and I think that the pandemic has only heightened that. When you look at the difference in policy between England and the likes of Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, who are all implementing a much more strict guidelines.
That is true.
On isolation and stuff like that. So I think that will cause a little bit of some loggerheads there.
There goes Rutland.
Gone, wiped off the map.
Yeah.
So
I could see all of those.
That's kind of British politics. I mean,
Yeah, that's
globally,
I reckon there's going to be a huge energy crisis. I think that's my prediction. Energy prices are going up, and from what I've read, they're not coming down.
No. Gas and electricity
anytime
to
soon.
increase by at least 50%, right? That was the
And
prediction.
we mentioned Kazakhstan earlier, but that was the kind of spark of the protest. It's also about the kind of leader who's been in power for like a couple of decades and is very authoritarian. But what sparked it was the rising fuel costs for, the kind of, the poorer people in Kazakhstan. And I think that's going to be an issue in 2022, a big issue.
Across the world, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly in Europe. North America's more self-sufficient. But
because I think the problem, the main issue is that demand just isn't being met by supply. And I don't think there's any way around that.
No. If only we'd invested in alternative energy sources in the past 30 years.
I know.
It's crazy.
But you know what? I mean, Captain Hindsight, no one could have predicted this.
No one
could have predicted
There
it.
were no studies from at least the 1970s about what would happen in the 2020s.
The mad thing is that I remember being at school. The crazy thing is, the age that we're at now, I remember being in school 20 years ago and them saying, this is how much fuel in these categories, this is how much they're expected to last into the future. And everyone, being a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, whatever, being like, well, why aren't they just making other renewable sources? And everyone being like, yeah, it's true. And now it's like, it's 20 years ago.
Yeah. Children can see that simple logic of,
and things,
well, if this is the problem, this is the solution.
Yeah. I mean, things have improved. Like when you look, we've spoken about it before, that renewable energies in the UK in some aspects have outstripped non-renewable energy resources, which is great. That's fantastic, and we're definitely making inroads into that. But in terms of big corporations and big business, and we're moving so slowly.
On a different note, on a more light-hearted note, I'm going to make a prediction about the cinema and the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my premise is always never bet against James Cameron.
Okay.
And Christmas 2022, Avatar 2 is scheduled to come out. I predict that Avatar 2 will be the biggest movie of all time.
Do you know what? I could see that. Yeah, I'm fully on board with that.
Yeah,
no chance. The whole thing about Avatar in the cinema, everyone's like, "This is 3D. It's like you're actually living the film." And then you watched it at home, and it's like, "This is shit." Right? Granted, I think when I watched that, I was like being out with a mate, and we were both a bit like, a bit groggy when I watched it on a tiny TV. So it wasn't optimal.
When you're drunk, yeah.
Exactly. So not an optimal experience. But that was like a big selling point for that film. Was like, I've seen it 7 times because I can go and watch it with the 3D glasses. And there's none of that this time. It's just the jungle.
It'll be really interesting to see if it can recreate that demand for 3D that it did back in 2009. My gosh, so long ago.
2009 was it? Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to do a different gimmick this time than the 3D. I mean,
I'm curious.
In fairness, I would say that wasn't even almost a gimmick. That was the best use of 3D I've seen in a film before or since. The only time I've actually seen a 3D film and thought, oh, I see the purpose of 3D in cinema now.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just a tacked on gimmick. It actually felt like
I did it properly.
It improved the experience of the film.
I'm hesitant to say it was the best use of 3D I've experienced, but definitely up there with, and it's certainly an example of how you should use 3D.
In terms of,
but I would agree with you, Robin. Don't bet against James Cameron.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I was going to say, in terms of biggest video game releases, what are you expecting to be the biggest sellers? I mean, the obvious one's God of War, isn't it? The new God of War.
Oh, yeah.
That would do pretty well.
Oh, wow.
It's out this year.
Yeah.
As is Elden Ring, the new Dark Souls style game. That'd be pretty big. Yeah.
We've also got a new IP from Bethesda, makers of Fallout and Skyrim.
Same space,
being released at the end of the year, called Starfield. I reckon that's going to be pretty huge.
That should be big.
Well, speaking of gaming, though, I think me and Robin said, anyway, one of my goals for this year is to stream more. So, if you didn't know already, we sometimes, and hopefully increasingly so, will stream on Twitch. So go on to twitch.tv/just_interesting and give us a follow to catch us live sometime.
Yes. And if you want a little more interesting, and Robin mentioned it earlier, then we have a couple of videos per week that we release over onto our Patreon page.
And
so
for our YouTube members on YouTube.
And for our YouTube members as well.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who supports us on there. That's patreon.com/justinteresting. I think that's right.
Yes, that's
One last prediction for this year.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is an optimistic one, but it's one for all three of us. I reckon this year on Just Interesting, we're going to get a video hit 1 million views.
What?
That's
is
my
a prediction. That
Should we just pretend that we've
It's gonna
discovered
happen.
something like new alien discovered in London?
We find Dick Turpin.
I think if any video we ever make is going to go viral, it would have to be something completely unexpected. So we should just start making random videos about our slippers or a faulty tap.
Yeah,
And
or like
it'll just go viral, you know.
or just title something dog chases postman to save child's life.
That would go viral.
And it's just a regular podcast. It's just our usual podcast. Don't ever even address it.
Dog chases murderous postman to save child's life.
And on that note,
Oh,
either of you up for
we're
a
going to be
quiz?
back on top in no time.
Yeah, up for a quiz, Rob.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay. Welcome, gentlemen and lovely listeners and watchers, to the very first Just Interesting quiz of 2022. What will we have today?
Yeah.
What shall we reveal? Will Alex win, or will Martin take the crown of today's quiz? And slowly begin to catch up to Alex's incredible lead in the tournament. But we'll find out. So, gentlemen, there will be 10 questions.
Oh my
as
goodness,
usual.
we're going to be for
10
hours.
quizzes. No, just 10 questions. Don't worry. And then a bonus question if there's a tie, or just for fun, whatever you like. But in order to answer those questions, you need to buzz in. So, play me your buzzers. Alex.
Well, we mentioned her earlier, and I'd just like to, give a shout out to my favourite Jackie of 2021. Actually, this is my Alex Times Person of the Year, is Jackie Weaver.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No authority at all. She's just kicked him out.
Just kicked him out.
No, she's kicked him out. Don't.
That was the moment where Jackie Weaver kicked the parish council chairman out of the meeting.
Best Zoom meeting ever.
Wonderful.
So, Martin, what's your buzzer?
Well, I've gone for an advert used a few years back for a confectionery that was I believe they're a Scandinavian company who makes them, but they're very popular amongst the youth in the UK. See if you remember this one.
Chew it. I like to chew it. They're very sweet. I love them.
Like chew it.
sounds-
Yeah.
I don't know if they're aware of this, but their kind of advertising slogan, it sounds very similar to another well-known song.
Yeah,
I think they were aware of that.
they might or might not have
I
been.
don't know. Just throwing it out there. I hope they didn't come into any legal problems.
Yeah, hopefully we won't get into any legal problems either through the repeated use of a 3-second snippet of that song. Well,
That'd be fine.
yeah. Let's test that theory by going into the quiz. Question number 1. Prepare your buzzers, gentlemen. Start off nice and easy with a true or false, 50-50. You can only be right or wrong, as is traditional with many quizzes, but particularly with this kind of question. True or false? F9, The Fast Saga, is the highest grossing film of 2021. Ooh, I heard Chewits first. Martin.
That's true.
It is not true.
No, I meant it's
you have
not
no
true.
authority here, Jackie Weaver.
It is false.
It is false.
No, he said not true. That's right.
I'm afraid it is false. Alex, what would you have honestly answered? Because it was, I was playing at your heartstrings there. Would you have gone for?
I would have gone for my heart, admittedly, and I would have said true. So
True.
unfortunately, and I would have buzzed as soon as possible as well. So
I'm afraid the highest grossing film of 2021 is Spider-Man: No Way Home, just in the last
of course,
6 or so days of 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There we go.
F9 is the 5th highest grossing film of 2021,
Okay.
just so you know.
Wow, only the 5th.
Yeah. But it was released during the pandemic, so, it did a good job to get that high. So, question number 2. Venezuela shares its border with which 3 countries?
Jeez.
Venezuela borders 3 countries.
Hmm.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
bad.
No authority
Bad.
at all.
Yes, Alex.
Well, this is gonna
Since you asked.
this is gonna be really embarrassing for my geography. Venezuela's South America, right? It's not
Yeah,
Central
no,
America.
that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Let's go Brazil,
Yep.
Argentina, and a third South American country. No, I don't know. Ecuador. No, that's Central America, isn't it?
I'm afraid you are incorrect.
Okay.
You got one right. You got one
Yeah.
of them right. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, do you get a point for one?
Yeah, I'll give you a point for one. Yeah.
So I'm not going to go for Brazil then because you've already answered that one. So Brazil is the one.
Yeah, Brazil is the one.
I'm going to go for Bolivia as another one.
Mm-hmm.
That's right to the south, isn't it? Or Bolivia and Ecuador is a decent shout, but maybe not. Well, let's go Chile because that's all the way down the side.
I'm afraid you're wrong with both of those.
Damn!
Yeah. You are correct that one of them begins with C.
Oh, well, that's going to be... I can buzz back in, huh?
Yeah. Yes, Martin.
That's going to be Colombia.
It is Colombia.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Colombia.
Colombia.
And Venezuela.
And there's a third country.
And,
Brazil, Colombia. This is making me realize I really don't know
South
and
American
Central
geography.
America
Yeah.
as well as I should. I shouldn't have had that Black Russian.
That's what she said. So, shall I give it to you? Do you think you'll get it?
I'm happy if you want to.
let's-
Or if you have a good clue, I'm happy with a good clue.
I can't think of a good clue, sadly, without giving it away.
okay, that's fine.
But it
Let's go
is Guy or Guyana.
Oh,
Guyana.
Guyana. Shit.
Yeah.
Guyana.
That's annoying.
Wow.
Couldn't think of a great clue for that one.
Oh.
I'm afraid. Sorry about that. But that means it is 2-1 to Alex going into question 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll take that.
What is the UK's smallest bird of prey?
You have no authority here, Jackie.
I'm afraid that was the Chewits first, Martin.
Yeah.
I don't actually know, but it's something like a red kite.
It's not the red kite. It's quite
It's
big,
pretty
actually,
small.
isn't it, that one?
Is it?
Well, it's not the biggest.
They just tie up.
No authority here, Jackie
Yes.
Weaver. No,
Yes, Alex.
The smallest bird of prey. I don't know what constitutes necessarily
Oh.
What about a corvid? How about a jackdaw?
No, but I like the way you're thinking. I can give you a clue.
Okay, yeah. I've got something in mind.
Oh, okay, go for it if you want to. Yeah.
I was going to go for a type of owl. I was thinking, so maybe like I don't know, like a barn owl. They're quite big owl, aren't they? Maybe barn owl. Why not?
Not the barn owl.
Okay,
Not the barn owl.
No.
Is that the clue?
No, sorry. It's not,
that is
it's
a
not
clue.
It's not a clue. It's a clue in the sense it's not barn
not
owl.
barn
But
owl.
I wasn't saying it's an owl either.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, unless Alex has a guess, I can give you a clue.
No, go for it. Give us a clue.
Okay. It shares its name with a famous wizard, as in a fictional wizard.
you have
But
no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No authority at all.
yes, Alex.
Is it a Merlin Pendragon bird? A Pendragon?
Pendragon, your final answer.
Yes.
It is not Pendragon.
Is it? What's a
Wait, no, it's-
Is it a Merlin?
It is a Merlin. Yes. Sorry, Alex. You said Merlin Pendragon, and then
And it's Arthur. Isn't it Arthur Pendragon as well? I messed that up.
yeah, commonly,
Isn't it?
yeah. Originally Uther Pendragon, and then Arthur Pendragon later. Yeah.
So it's not Merlin. Do you
It's
know
not
why I
Merlin
said
Pendragon.
Merlin Pendragon?
Why?
Because I wasn't even confusing them. It's because I knew someone called Merlin Pendragon.
Did you actually?
So-
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Merlin
There's a real-
How have you never
a real
mentioned this
person.
before on the Just Interesting podcast, Alex?
He used to be like a school friend. So
Did he live on like a houseboat or something? Sounds like a Quite a hippie name.
He did not. No. I know the area where he lived, but I don't want to dox him. So
Is he still around, or has he been trapped in stone underground after being seduced by an evil witch sorceress?
do you know what? I couldn't even tell you. We've fallen out of contact, sadly. But
Is it because he's trapped underground after being seduced by an evil sorceress?
that could be why. But, I don't know.
Doesn't answer my text anymore. Don't know where he is. Right. Well, that's 2-2 going into question 4.
That's a ridiculous name. Merlin, if you're watching. Merlin Pendragon.
Yeah,
That's
what
amazing.
What a great name.
Ridiculous in a good way, I'm not saying.
It's a very nice.
It's a great
very
name.
nice person.
Yeah. So, closest wins.
Okay.
How long was the longest snake in the world?
The longest snake in the world. Do you want it in feet, inches?
Go for meters. Let's go for meters.
Inches. It's so difficult to calculate.
That would be, wouldn't it? Let's stick with
You have
meters.
no authority here, Jackie
Meters.
Weaver.
Yes.
No authority at all.
And this is closest wins, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
closest wins, yeah.
15 meters?
Oh, no way. I was going to say, in my mind, I was going to say 17. That was my...
Okay.
Which I'll stick with.
stick
That
with
sounds
17.
really long, though, as a steak, isn't it? One, two, four.
That's quite long, yeah.
No, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for
thinking
that. Yeah.
Okay, Mark's going with 17. Alex is going with 15. The correct answer is 10 meters. Is the longest known
Rubbish.
snake on record.
Rubbish snakes get longer.
Sorry. Found in 1912. The reticulated python.
1912.
Yeah, the reticulated python. It's the largest known species of snake. Usually around 6 1/4 meters, but this was 10.
Blimey.
Wow.
There we
So
go.
3-2 to Alex. Going into question 5. La Marquise is the world's oldest running car, as in car that still works, not a car that runs. Obviously, cars roll. But anyway, the world's oldest running car. What is it fueled by? Yes, Martin.
Coal.
Yes, I will accept coal.
Is it a steam
It is a steam-powered car.
Wow.
So
nice.
it can be powered by coal, wood, and paper, depending on how desperate you are.
How much paper would you need to power a car? It's A4 printing packs, just chucking them in.
I think it's literally a capacity thing. They can only carry so much coal, and after a certain amount of time, they have to switch to paper. Yeah. Okay, so that is 3-3, I think. Going into question number 6. Which city is traditionally said to be built on 7 hills?
Ooh.
Which city is traditionally said to be built on 7 hills?
7 hills. That's pretty...
Oh, yes, Martin.
I'm going to go for Paris.
Not Paris.
There are a few hills
Authority
in
here,
Paris.
Jackie Weaver. No authority.
Yes, Alex.
I'll go Athens.
No, not Athens.
Oh,
What about... Well, that's not really built on hills, though. It's more built into the valleys.
Mhm.
No.
What
I
were you
changed my
gonna say?
mind. What I was going to say was Rio de Janeiro,
Okay.
but it's not built on the mountains.
yeah,
It's down in the
that's-
valleys.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah, actually, no. I mean,
good guess there.
emphasis on the traditionally said to be built on 7 hills. It's not really known how many hills it's built on.
So it is built on hills.
There are
in a
almost
hilly
certainly
place.
hills in the city, but it's now,
Right.
No authority here, Jackie
Yes,
Weaver.
Alex.
No authority.
I feel like I have to guess this because it's going to be embarrassing if it turns out to be. Is it Edinburgh?
It's not Edinburgh, but I'm glad you said it. That would have been.
Edinburgh is very hilly. So.
Yeah.
Being traditionally, so it's going to be very old. What about Rome?
It is Rome, yes.
Oh, Rome.
Yep.
Right, okay.
Built on 7 hills, yep. So,
7 hills.
4-3 to Martin, going
Ooh.
into question number 7. Speaking of Rome and Roman culture, which is the only planet in our solar system not to be named after a Roman or Greek god?
No authority here, Jackie Weaver.
Yes,
No
Alex.
authority at all.
Okay, let's...
No, you can't do
Oh,
this.
supposed to without
No,
knowing.
okay. Is it... oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's
Come on. This is ridiculous.
Pluto.
No, it's not Pluto.
Just Pluto doesn't count.
Pluto's
What's
the
one that I
Roman
missed?
god of the underworld, yeah.
What about
Oh, is
was it? Is Earth? named
It's
after?
Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
Earth is the only planet not named
Sugar.
after a Roman or Greek god.
A Black Russian,
Damn it.
Alex.
The Black Russian's not helping me out here. Yeah, I will be honest.
So that's 5-3, yeah, to Martin, going into question number 8.
Oh, okay. So I really need
You've got-
to.
There's
get
a chance
the
for
game.
Alex to catch up, but it's going to it might get more difficult, to be honest. This question might be difficult. Anyway, Calvin Cordazar Broadus Jr. is better known by what name?
Can you say the name again?
Calvin Cordazar Broadus Jr.
Let's go for Jay-Z.
It's not Jay-Z.
Something random that's not affiliated at all with the name.
I mean, I don't even know where to have a guess there. Like,
I mean, once you have a guess, I'll give you a clue. So
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
Jackie Weaver, probably.
is it Calvin Coolidge?
it's not Calvin Coolidge, although I like your thinking. No, Martin was correct in picking Jay-Z because it is in the hip-hop R&B rapping field.
Okay.
Can you say the name again, please?
Calvin Cordazar Broadus Jr.
Oh. Calvis. Could it be Biggie? Biggie Smalls.
It's not Biggie Smalls. No.
What's his name?
No.
Calvis Jr.
Well, I mean,
No authority here, Jackie Weaver.
Oh,
in the same vein
Mm-hmm.
as Biggie, it's not Tupac, is it? Tupac Shakur.
It's not Tupac.
we're just going through rappers now, aren't we?
Well, I'll give you another clue.
Okay.
This rapper likes Just Eat.
That's Snoop Dogg.
It is Snoop Dogg. It is indeed.
No,
Oh,
Martin's beating me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex,
no.
but Martin has claimed
Well
the
done.
victory, it looks like. But that's
this next question's worth 4 points. Surprise question from the closet. Surprise
I
question
almost
from the
did that
closet.
actually, but I didn't this time. Wait, what? I've lost track now. The scores. It's 6-3. Yes, 6-3 going into question 9. What is the collective noun for a group of giraffes? Giraffes.
Oh,
Is it a herd?
No.
Okay. Herd of giraffes. So.
Nice try.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No.
Yes, Alex.
is it a flock? A flock of giraffes?
It's not a flock.
Oh, actually, I think potentially.
Yeah?
It's something weird, like a skyscraper of giraffes.
No.
That'd be too modern,
Oh,
wouldn't
wait.
it?
You're along the right lines. Robin had that look of like, no. Oh, I don't know. No, I don't even know. Pass.
I'll give you a clue. It's Martin, when he said skyscraper, it's not skyscraper, but there were a couple of famous skyscrapers with this word in their name.
Oh.
Here, Jackie Weaver. No authority at all.
Yes, Alex.
Did Martin
No,
buzz?
you go for it.
Is it a tower? A tower of giraffes?
A tower of giraffes, yes. Yes, well done. Yeah, sorry, but I heard Alex buzz first. Did you buzz as well?
I think it was roughly the same time, and plus I wasn't sure. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes it 6-4 going into question 10.
Just regaining some dignity. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
You need it. Let's. Sorry. Geography caps back on.
Okay.
What is the capital of Hawaii?
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
Yes.
No authority
Oh, yes, Alex.
at all.
It's close.
Is it Honolulu?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Well done. 6-5 to Martin.
I knew that.
Martin is the winner of today's quiz. The
Yay,
first
I got
quiz
a
of
point.
2022. Is it Martin's comeback? It could be because,
Ah,
well, we don't know how many quizzes there are left in this season. It's all got a bit messy.
Nobody knows.
Nobody really knows. But Alex does have a pretty compelling lead.
Yeah, a long way to go.
You can do it. You can do it.
There's time. There's plenty
I
of
don't
time.
think there's enough quizzes left, I've got to be honest. But,
There might not be.
give me my best shot. Give me my best shot.
Would you like the
Well,
bonus?
I've got to have the trophy from last season at some point this season.
before you win it again.
As you say, give me your address live on YouTube.
I'm going to buy another one at this rate. I'm going to get another one.
Yes, each
to
of us
have it.
buy one for ourselves, and then we'll never have this problem again.
Defeats the entire purpose.
It does a little
of
bit.
it being a trophy.
A little bit, yeah. Okay, do you want a bonus question?
Yeah,
I had some
Okay,
doubt
for it.
there. Fine. I'll go then. Yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, so it's the closest wins. Don't worry.
Cool.
But this was a question that came to mind when I was after asking the bird of prey question, which is closest wins. How many species of bird of prey are there in the world? And I'm looking for a number.
This is one of those that could be,
Could
like,
be anything. Yeah.
really not as much as we'd expect to up to like
Far more.
100,000 or something.
Yeah.
Unsustainable number, yeah.
I'm going to go for 74.
Okay, 74, yeah.
Are we counting like subspecies?
No, whoa.
I don't, to be
No
honest,
clues.
I couldn't tell you.
No clues after I've
Authority
answered.
here, Jackie Weaver. No authority at
Subspecies.
I'll go-
What's a
I'll go.
subspecies?
I don't really know.
Like an
I'll go
owl.
for like
An
like
owl, door, an
I
owl,
don't know.
tawny owl.
Birds that only
barn owl.
eat half of other birds, and therefore not quite birds of prey.
Like
you
bird
know.
of prey, yeah, I like it.
Or you know how there's like black-beaked bald eagle, regular bald eagle, all the other ones, and that's just an
Right.
example.
Oh,
I
I
made that up,
see, I see. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
but red-tailed,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll go for an even 100 then. I think that's probably a little bit more than that.
Well, Alex is closer. It's 280 species of birds of prey. Yeah, surprised me. More than I thought.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But also, if you asked me, I wouldn't know what to guess. So, yeah. Well done.
I mean,
difficult
I think
Yeah.
unprompted, if Martin hadn't gone first, I probably would have said like 1,000 or something.
Not quite as variable as when I asked about the distance from Earth to the Sun, and it was like, you're technically correct, but you're still like 10 million light years away.
Yeah.
You're saying the Earth to the Sun is 10,000 miles, or whatever it was.
It's closer than the moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, thank you for that. Well done, Martin, on a well-deserved victory. And
Well done, Martin.
commiserations, Alex, on your
That's right.
your loss.
I'll get him next time.
Probably the way things
Yeah,
go, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you all for joining us for our discussion of predictions for 2022 and our review of predictions for 2021. Please let us know your predictions in the comments below on YouTube or by messaging us on Twitter if you listen to us on any of our audio platforms. I'm at alltimерobin,
I'm at Martin Interesting.
And I'm at Just Alexing.
or you can message all three of us at jinterestingyt on Twitter.
Yes.
Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.